Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to tell you how to get a Geodude with Galvanize. It's a little tricky to set up, but once you have the setup, it is a 100% effective strategy. So this setup requires a Pokemon with the Damp ability, like a Golduck, and it needs to have the move Hypnosis. Disable also helps, and you're going to need a Smeargle with the moves Imprison, an attacking move. I use Bubble Beam because it works fine and it's a special move. It's going to need to have one Sketch slot available, and it's going to need to know Roleplay to check abilities. Once Pokebank is available, you're going to actually not need the Smeargle, and you can just use Golduck. Until then, we're going to need to also use Smeargle, because Golduck can't check abilities on its own. So, here's what we're going to try and do. The problem we have is that Geodude knows Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct ends chains, and chains are required to get hidden ability Pokemon. You need a chain of at least 9 before there is even a 5% chance of hidden ability Pokemon appearing, and it maxes at a chain of 30 with 15%. So it's not great odds, but when Geodudes are just using Self-Destruct left and right, that's not great. Thankfully, Golduck and Politoed both actually work here because they both have the Damp ability, potentially, and Damp allows, or actually I should say prevents Self-Destruct from working. It'll cause it to always fail. And the move will still be used, which is good because we need it to be used for our Smeargle to sketch it. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm just buffing my Golduck's defenses because Geodude can use Thunder Punch, which can hurt my Golduck a fair bit. A higher level Golduck would need to worry, but I just didn't feel like leveling mine up. You also should be using an X accuracy, which I forget. Now, all you're needing this Geodude to do is use Self-Destruct, and then you're going to put it to sleep. So here's the Self-Destruct. It can't work because I have Damp. So now I put it to sleep with the Hypnosis. I could have gotten pretty unlucky and had the Hypnosis miss. Actually, it wouldn't even been that unlucky. It's a 40% chance of that. So that's why you need to use the X accuracy. Now, what you hope you do is you switch in your Smeargle, the Geodude doesn't wake up, and you use Sketch. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen here, and it's not the end of the world. All you need to do is switch your Golduck back in and just repeat. I'll talk a little bit about the Smeargle now and how you can get the moves on it and why you need these moves. So Imprison, you can get via Klefki. I think that's actually the only Pokemon that can learn Imprison, and I got my Klefki to know Imprison by the move relearner. I don't think it learns Imprison to like a high level, so you're going to want to check Cerebi or Bulbapedia on that, but the move relearner works just fine. Now, this time I use the X accuracy, and you can see why I use the X defenses. That Thunder Punch really packs a wallop. Now, why I said to use Disable, if you use Disable, the chance of it using Self-Destruct rises from 25%, 1 out of 4, to 1 out of 3. So it just makes the battle take less time, which is good, because this is going to take you a while. So I've disabled its Smackdown, and I'm just waiting for it to use Self-Destruct. If Geodude calls in help, that's actually not the end of the world. It can actually make it easier by giving yourself 2 shots at a Self-Destruct, but it can make things harder to sketch because it can maybe feint your Smeargle with the Self-Destruct. So I would recommend, if with lower level Smeargle and Golduck, just keeping it to 1 Geodude. So this time the Hypnosis works perfectly. I get the Geodude to fall asleep, and spoiler alert, it will not wake up when my Smeargle swaps in. So now all I need to do is use Sketch, and this Smeargle now learns Self-Destruct. And once I use Imprison, no Geodude is going to be able to use it for the rest of the battle. But I actually use Bubble Beam here to kind of exploit something. Geodude has Sturdy, so instead of using False Swipe, I simply see if the first Geodude has Sturdy, because I need to get it to 1 HP somehow, and this is a really easy way to do it. If it had Rockhead, I would just look for another Geodude. It's a 40% chance, and so you just search until you find a Sturdy Geodude. Funny enough, you're going to want to not find Sturdy Geodude the rest of the way. Now, Geodude actually has pretty good attack, so I'd recommend using 3x defense, especially if you have a weaker Smeargle. Once that's done, you can use an Adrenaline Orb, and there you go. You know what to do from here. You're going to keep knocking out Geodude until you find the one with Galvanize. There's one caveat to that. Like I said, Geodude has Sturdy, so if you get a Geodude with Sturdy, just KO the other Geodude. Why? Well, it sucks that they have Sturdy, and at least you're going to make sure that no Geodude runs out of PP. Because you've used Imprison, they actually only have 3 moves, so running out of PP is a possibility. Although it shouldn't take you too long. once you hit a chain of about 30, that's where I'd recommend you start using roleplay on every female Geodude. Why? Well, some of the males might have Galvanize, but if you're getting Galvanize, you probably want to use it for competitive battles. And breeding with male Pokemon with hidden ability, that's only a 20% chance and only with Ditto. Female Pokemon, it's an 80% chance, full stop. So my Geodude I eventually caught was a female, and it made it really easy to breed the perfect galvanized Geodude. So that's about it for this one. If you keep going with this, you're going to end up finding a Geodude, and it's going to take a while. It took me like a couple hours, actually, which is actually pretty long. I guess the last thing I'll say is that the hidden ability, I think from encounters like 10 to 20, it's 5%, 20 to 30, it's 10%, and then 30 on, it's 15%. So the chances of you finding a hidden ability Pokemon will never be great, but just keep trying. Eventually, one will pop up. Make sure you have plenty of full restores, and that's all for me. Good luck.